Welcome you to BeMoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth.
An accent. We need God. Because only God can bring us out of this mess.
All right. My name's Doni Glover. We're in here about to get it popping. Good morning to you. Let's go straight to the jugular. I'm going to talk to a good friend of mine, Mr. Derek Burnett, find out what's happening in Baltimore County. Mr. Burnett, how you doing?
I'm blessed by the best, Donnie. How about yourself?
I'm doing good. Come a little closer there. You doing the invisible man on me.
Okay.
All right. Baltimore County, y'all getting geared up for election time. What's happening out there?
Man, they got a lot going on behind the scenes. People should be aware of this. The school board issue is crazy. They're trying to get rid of the school board superintendent. They got rid of a school board auditor within the last day or so. Young lady had been on the auditor for the school board for the last 30-something years. She found some issues as it relate to misspending of funds and people not turning in forms and issues according to the criteria and guidelines. They literally voted her out by not voting. You need
slow down. What is her name?
Her name is Miss Barr. Miss Barr.
And for the sake of clarity, is this a black woman?
No, she's not black, but she's just good at her job, and unfortunately, they got rid of her as a result of that.
Okay, let me tell you, you do keep disappearing. I don't know what's going on. You close enough to the green screen?
Yeah, I guess I am. I'm usually not working with this green screen, but I'm cool. All right.
Okay. All right. So she was doing a noble job.
Oh, no doubt. For the last 30 years.
Now,
last 30 years.
So let me tell you, I was talking with Dr. Cheryl Pastor.
Oh, yes. She will know.
She has her concerns about Baltimore County Public Schools as well. Now Dr. Pastor is running for a delegate out there in 11A.
Exactly.
And
it's unfortunate. Dr. Pasteur was on the school board, but she resigned to run for the delegate position. And because she resigned, I can't blame it all on her. I got to blame it on these people that didn't vote. Because let me explain the process to you, Donnie. It's 11 people on the board. You need 7 votes to be approved for anything. So what they did, they had 6 people vote for it, and 3 people recused, and 2 people abstained. So she never acquired the 7 votes, and they used that to get rid of her. Her contract is up June 30th, after 30 years of service.
After 30 years of service, you're saying that the other members on the board did not vote to keep Dr. Cheryl Pastor?
No, we talking about Barr, the auditor.
Oh, Barr.
But realistically, they use the same concept to eliminate Cheryl Pasteur for coming to school board president. They use the same tactic. Only 6 on the board.
Now help me out.
Okay.
I'm a little leery. You're saying they.
Well, I'm saying school board members.
Let me just get to it. Are you dealing with racism out there in Baltimore County Public Schools?
Man, no doubt, man. Let's just call a spade a spade. That's the bottom line. That's how I see it. and realistically, this is the ground roots efforts to circumvent any additional progress that we're making as a community.
I'm troubled by this. I mean,
We should
black
be
people make up what, 25% of Baltimore County?
30%. 30%.
30%. And clearly, without the taxes that come from black folks,
Black and brown. Right.
Woodlawn, Randallstown, Owens Mills, my understanding is that without that 30% in Baltimore County is not as fiscally strong.
Well, you're probably correct in that.
I mean, y'all pay a lot of taxes out there for them big old 100, 200, $300,000 houses in Randallstown and Owens Mills.
Yeah, well, property taxes aren't that bad, but I've seen worse. But you're right. You're definitely right.
I mean, that's a strong portion of income, of tax revenue that comes from the Liberty Road corridor.
Alone.
One thing I was discussing with Dr. Pastor is how we, black and brown people, we live out Randallstown, Owens Mills, some in Catonsville, Pikesville. We live out there, but the only time we go to Towson is to go to Towson Town Mall. 2 minutes away, Dr. Cheryl Pastor said, from 2 minutes away from Towson Town Mall is the county seat and also the Board of Education. Are we showing up at the county council meetings? Are we showing up at the Baltimore County Board of Education meetings, black people?
Well, I'll tell you what, I will be there tonight. They have a meeting tonight at 6 o'clock. And tonight they're going to be discussing and voting on this issue in regards to not extending and rehiring Dr. Durrell Williams, the superintendent of Baltimore County Public Schools.
Well, let's get into that. Now, you done had 4 black school superintendents out there. You had Joe Harrison. What was the lady's name? Okay, you had Dallas Dance.
Venetia. Her name wasn't Venetia, but I understand. I know you're talking about. She worked under Dallas Dance.
And no sooner as Dallas went through his troubles, they started leaning on her. Now you got a 4th black. Again, I'm seeing 4 black school superintendents, but like in the up in the balconies, I can hear Karen. I can hear Karen whining about everything.
Oh yes, that's definitely the case. And let me tell you what reasoning they're using to try to get rid of Dr. Durrell Williams. Three suggested reasonings, which was initiated by County Councilman Quirk from Catonsville. One being the lack of adequate amount of school bus drivers. That's been a national epidemic during the pandemic. You can't find enough bus drivers out here.
And they're blaming this current
on the superintendent. 2, the low morale of the teachers. All teachers have low morale during the pandemic for the last 2 years, where they've had to work virtually and acquire an additional skill set other than their regular teaching capabilities. So again, that's another national concerning issue. 3rd, they say he's not responsive. This brother has a website page. He has email address. You can connect with him on any kind of social media, any way, shape, or form. But it's just that if he don't respond to them immediately in a step and fetch it type matter, then they got issues with it.
So what is wrong with these people in Baltimore County? Is it? I mean, now let's be honest. Let's be fair. When Dallas Dance had his troubles, it did not serve our purposes well. we as a black community.
No, it didn't. It didn't.
But he was so well received by the young people. There was a certain magic that he had, but as it's been brought to my attention, he somehow got separated from his mission. He somehow got distracted and thought maybe he was above the law.
I can't speak on that, but that was the end result. That was the end result.
So they lock. It is one heck of a thing. I mean, if Dallas Dance went to jail for what he was doing out there in Baltimore County, I gotta ask.
I know what you're gonna ask. Go ahead.
What would be happening at Baltimore City Public Schools headquarters if they send Dallas Dance to prison for 4 months because he made a little side money? Where is the accountability on Baltimore City Public Schools when you're changing the grades of 1 in 8 students?
Yeah, that needs to be
1 in 8 students. Where is the outrage?
Yeah, I can't understand. I hate to say it, why Baltimore City superintendent is still in place.
Verletta White, that's her name. She was
that's right. That's right.
Interim superintendent.
That's right.
And they stayed on her.
They did, and they got rid of her because of I think non-disclosure of additional income that she had made. So they use an ethics component to oust her. But fortunately, Dr. Daryl Williams, hired her and kept her on for a whole year after they got rid of her, such that she would allow him to learn the system and understand the process of Baltimore County Public Schools, which was a smart, strategic move on his part.
Well, there go you African Americans trying to collaborate and undermine the sanctity of, Michael Haney say, let's talk about the 800-pound gorilla in the room. I have a great nephew, Dante. He went to Hereford.
Oh, yeah.
Hereford is, to my understanding, he had to leave like 6 o'clock in the morning to get from Randallstown to Hereford. Hereford, if I'm not mistaken. Hereford.
You're right.
This is all the way up near what, the county line, the state line?
Pennsylvania state line, close to it.
Ain't no black people up there.
It's not a lot.
People
It's not a lot, no.
Hell no. So look, you have a lot of.
I keep disappearing.
So you got a lot of white folks up there, but they want to do things their own way. They don't want to be a part of the county system. They want to do it their way.
Oh, no doubt. And you got remembers
with our tax dollars.
Well,
see, you can't do it your way when you get my tax dollars. You got to do it our way. But they saying no, we don't have to do it y'all way. We're gonna do it our way.
Well, they definitely trying to implement that tonight, and it's unfortunate. This brother.
Are we gonna show up at the meeting? That's what I want.
I'm gonna be there. I reached out to a lot of people. I'm asking all the members of the Divine Nine. This brother's a member of Kappa Alpha Psi. He's a graduate of Hampton University. He went to American University, got his doctorate degree from University of Maryland, College Park. This brother was the assistant superintendent for Montgomery County Public Schools for about 5 years before he came to Baltimore County. This brother has great past performance and capabilities. This ain't no fly-by-night guy. And they're trying to do anything they can to get rid of this young brother.
Outrage right here. We are experiencing a decline in our leadership's ability to withstand the temptation and become corrupted or to follow the letter of the law. This is Kenny Harris's mom, our beloved late councilman from Baltimore City. Because previous leadership such as Marvin Mandel, William Jefferson, Leopold, Mitchell Pugh, Kirkpatrick, McLean, just to name a few, have left voters and residents with little respect or confidence in the political process. Those of us concerned with the upward mobility of families and communities have been deceived and denied. They lied to us. Our own people lied to us. And so now that the Karens are convening to try to put the mash on another black school superintendent, what's our comeback?
Well, we got to find out tonight. They don't broadcast this thing on all the news channels.
Are we going to show up, though? We go to Towson Town. We go to Mode. We go all around Towson. Do we go to the county schools meeting?
We need to show up tonight. We really do. And I hope they bring it out as a topic to be discussed and not use the closed board meeting concept to discuss it, because they have their own closed board meeting from 5 to 6 before they open it up to the general public. So they might attempt to use that.
Let me tell you something. We need to get black people running for those school board positions.
Oh, no doubt, man. No doubt.
We only had two
on there. We had Makita on there, who's still on there, and we had Cheryl Pasteur. Cheryl Pasteur is awesome. And she ran for the school board presidency. But again, they used that same voting technique, was 6 voted for and 3 recused and 2 abstained to not approve her appointment as a school board president. And I think as a result of that, that led her to move on to bigger and better opportunities running for a delegate seat.
And she's on her way to becoming delegate.
I believe that. I hope so.
No opposition.
Oh, okay. Very good.
Doug, I understand that you have blacks running for county council out there in districts that have never had a black council person.
That's possible. Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. I think Cheryl Pasteur. No, she's not a councilman. No, okay. No, that's Izzy.
You've had Ken Oliver, and he was succeeded by Julian Jones. But you got a black running in the 11th, the new 11th, in Tony Fugate. He's running against
Izzy Patoka.
Izzy has inherited 20% of a new district, the blackest part. Did Fugate get started soon enough? Or is this preparation for the next election when Izzy Patoka may be running for county executive?
I kind of agree with you on that. Realistically, and I know of Tony Fugate. I don't know him that personally. I've seen him. I've interacted with him periodically.
Hold up. You have been very active.
Yes.
In Baltimore County. He was at one point the NAACP president for Baltimore County.
Okay.
You're telling me that y'all two don't know each other? I mean,
I haven't interacted with him that much. I'm gonna be honest. I haven't been involved with the NAACP.
Well, that's concerning.
Well, I have my issues as it relates to the organization.
The NAACP. Well, I got issues relating to the one here in Baltimore. We don't hear him. Yeah. I was glad to hear Ryan Coleman making some noise. Now, y'all got to be careful pointing fingers at Baltimore City, because we know where all the drug dealers live at, but I'm going to leave that alone for another day. But I did like Ryan Coleman being proactive, because quite frankly, I've not heard from the Baltimore president of the NAACP. What's his name? Kobe Little. I see him in Starbucks.
Wow.
I see him in need of a haircut, but I don't see him involved in the community. I don't hear the noise that I used to hear from Doc Cheatham.
Right, my man.
I don't hear it.
Right.
NAACP has historically been an advocacy organization, making noise,
Yes, no doubt.
Okay.
On that Ryan Coleman issue, he did make a statement, but I think he kind of outstepped his bounds. You're supposed to direct that to the city. You're not supposed to get involved.
But nothing is being said in the city.
Okay.
His counterpart is quiet as a church mouse urinating on cotton.
Yeah, well, you need to wake him up.
No, need to replace them.
Yeah,
See, I'm tired of playing with these people. You don't want to do the job, get out the way and let somebody in who will.
That's right.
Period. I'm tired. I don't want no excuses. We've studied the problem. Everybody, I want to be the leader. I want to be the leader. Then you get in there and you drive us over the cliff. That's what the old people said. They then gave the young people the keys to the car.
Wow.
And the young people are driving over the cliff. Hey, don't go that way. I got this. You can't tell me. Ain't that what Kanye say? You can't tell me nothing.
Oh my God. Yeah, but we got to show up tonight, Donnie. Yeah, I'm reaching out to all the members of Baltimore County, even Baltimore City, all the Pan-Atlantic Council members, all the churches. Everybody should be there tonight. You got to show, man. It's got to be
listen. The only way you're gonna get black people to show up is I'm being facetious now.
You may not be, but I'm listening.
You got to turn it into a happy hour, all white party, a preaching type thing. That's what we seem to show up for, you know, galas and stuff. We ain't showing up for the damn work. We showing up for like CIAA. We showing up for the VIP happy hour. We're not concerned with taking all of them young people in the Liberty Road baseball down to see all of these historically black colleges and universities. We focus on the all-white party because I'm the biggest promoter around, and we promote parties. You know, that's what we good at.
Yeah, well, we need to get better at our political involvement. Because it's going to be our demise if we don't. And the handwriting's on the wall.
Sylvia said we're waiting on Martin O'Malley to give the orders.
Right.
Sylvia said give him some pig feet and they'll show up.
Yeah, well, unfortunately.
Michael Haney, show up to defend the Mr. Williams or to defend racism, show up at the polls. No, Michael Haney. See, Michael Haney is far removed from raising children. I think he's like a great, great, great grandfather right now.
He ain't that old, man.
Oh, he about a great, great, great grandfather. But we talking about parents. Are we going to the PTA meetings at Deer Park, at Randallstown?
Man, no, they not. No,
we're not going to. We're not showing up at the PTA meeting. If we're not showing up at the PTA meetings, I know damn well we're not showing up at the polls.
My kids have been out of high school for 10 years. I joined the PTA at Randallstown just to be able to lend a voice prior to COVID. And I went to a few meetings. It was more teachers there than parents. And you might have had a total of maybe 11 people there and about 7 teachers. And crazy, I was a basketball coach part-time for a girls basketball team at Marriottsville High School in Howard County. You know, I go to their PTA meetings. It's standing room only in them PTA meetings.
Our priorities are messed up. We are not going to PTA meetings. We're not going to school board meetings. All we going to is Corinthians to get some of them happy hour beers, some of them crabs.
It's not good, Donnie.
We're going to Sister's Place. Hey, we having an all-white party at Sister's Place today, as soon as we get off the air.
Yeah, we got to become more politically astute, man. We getting ready to get bamboozled.
See,
already been hoodwinked.
I was talking with Dr. Cheryl Pastor about this. We think because we got our kids in county schools, everything is okay. No. We left the city. We're in the county now. The school's okay. Ain't been to no PTA. We know more Ravens players than we do the names of our children's teachers. We know more stats on Lamar than we know on the school's principal. So I'm saying, what happened? I mean, I thought, we move out to Liberty Road, got no longer dealing with triggers, rats, and roaches. We got bunny rabbits, deer, and foxes. Got lawns, got whips. Although they can't drive on Liberty Road, we got to give y'all some serious driving schools out there. That was a joke there. But
Yeah, I
we
got
got,
it. But Donnie, listen, we've had a disconnect for I say the last 2 generations, man. There's a culturally conscious disconnect between our elderly individuals and our students and our younger parents. People have issues talking to kids. I remember I was on a board for Hubert
she
V.
said it.
Clinton.
We think we got it made.
Nah.
Yes, we do.
Nah.
Yes, we do. Because
how can we have it made? We haven't advanced
because we live beyond
economically.
the beltway. We don't go to Shoppers up Mondawmin. We go to Walmart out Liberty Road. We in the county now. I made it.
Donnie, I know I'm talking to the choir, but we have made nothing because none of these stores, we own none of these stores. Economically, we own nothing out here.
Brother, I don't care. My woman is happy. She live in Randallstown. She don't live in Sandtown. And that's all she care about. Happy wife, happy life.
Yeah, well, it's going to be a rude awakening. I agree with Miss Harris. The recession going to wake up a lot of people. And by the time the recession hit, if you ain't already prepared, you're going to be in trouble.
So we playing. The civil rights movement has ended, but the struggle has not.
Not at all.
And when it relates to Baltimore County schools, you have people who do not like black people looking for any excuse to get rid of y'all. Exactly. I remember Joe Hairston. He was the first black school superintendent out there.
Yes.
In the era of Obama. So you got the first black president, and then you had the first black county school superintendent out there. I love Joe, man. I thought he was fair. I thought he was decent. But as upright as he was, they were trying to mash him too.
Well, it ain't changed. And that's been like, what, 12 years ago? 16 years ago? It's sad. And we hurting on a lot of fronts. That's one of the reasons I ran for county councilman. I mean, I just couldn't stand by and watch. Even though I didn't win, I just had to bring some issues to the table. I'm going to tell you another prime example, an issue that needs to be brought to the table that hasn't been. Baltimore County, as I said previously, has a 30% population, right? But the MBE participation levels for Baltimore County Procurement Office is only been established at 15%. Do you know MDOT and MBE participation levels for Baltimore City and the state of Maryland is at 29%? So do you know how much money we've been missing?
That's a goal. That's a goal.
But still, well, that 15% is less than 29%. Why can't we increase that goal?
Okay. So look, one goal is right here. The other goal is right here. But the reality is we getting something all the way down here.
That our 15% goal needs to be increased to 29% or even.
Okay, but we're not getting 1 to 2%. We're not even up there at 15, let alone at 30. We getting 1 to 2%. So I ask you again, what are we thinking about in Baltimore County? We have accumulated more property. We pay more taxes.
Man, don't get on that. Let's talk about property. I've looked at houses, same type houses in Baltimore County, Randallstown versus the same style house in Carroll County and Howard County. And it's a differential in price of about $125,000 to $250,000 in the same amount of square footage.
I'm not going out Carroll County. I don't care.
I'm just saying.
I love Jimmy. I love Kenny. But I ain't all that comfortable out there in Carroll County.
But I'm saying that's the issue. When we got appraisers that don't appraise our properties adequately, that lend to
no, there's a new game. You got to get a white person to house sit for you on the day of your appraisal.
That's some BS, Donnie.
That's how you beat it. Just like car insurance, don't use my address to get car insurance in 21217. You got to use the address in Mount Airy.
And we've been getting hit from all fronts. And see, the increase in your property values have a direct effect on your generational wealth that you lead or transfer to the next generation. They're constantly suppressing that. And I haven't heard not one politician step up and address this issue. This ain't new. This been going on for 30 years. I don't understand it.
Let's hear what Michael Haney says. He says Baltimore County is a closet, red neck part of the state. They just passed fair housing in the county a year ago with a Democratic executive the past 30 years, Jim Smith.
He's right. Michael is definitely right.
Michael, why don't you come in on the show? Is that too much to ask of you? Because you didn't put too many comments up. So what do we do about it? There you go.
We got to get more involved. More people got to get involved. I mean, I got to the point where, I kind of threw my hands up. I said, man, I can do all I can do, but I'm only one.
That's why I called you.
And I said, well, you know what? I can't do it by myself. And I'm tired of dealing with these go along to get along individuals just so they can try to advance their own personal agendas.
I'm tired of fighting for people who won't fight for themselves. I'm not fighting for you. I'm not fighting harder for you than you're going to fight for yourself. Not happening. I'll give you Gilmore Holmes of Randallstown. If we go out there, we fighting together. But don't let me get up there and I turn around.
And you ain't even there.
Oh, now you got a real problem.
Yeah, no doubt. No doubt. No doubt. It's sad, Donnie. So I hope the people come out tonight, man. I really do. I hope they make it a subject matter for the general population and not try to bamboozle us and discuss it during the closed meeting session.
Well, let me ask you, why are you involved? I mean, you ran for office. You've been involved in the community.
Donnie, I've been a community advocate and community volunteer for the last 25 years. I ain't made a dime doing none of that. I'm at the point now, if it don't make money, it don't make sense. I just hate to say it, but that's just where I am.
The education of our children is a part of the money. It's the biggest investment we can make.
That's true. I've been there, Donnie, done it. I mean, I done help educate a few other people's kids. I done help coach and direct and mentor.
Von Tasha got it. I will never fight harder for you than you're willing to fight for yourselves. There we go. There we go. He had to go put his makeup on, I guess. Good morning, Michael.
Yeah, I did put my makeup on. Mr. Burnett, how you doing, man? Good to see you, brother.
Hey, brother, always a pleasure, man.
Yeah, we really missing the big elephant in the room. The biggest elephant in the room is that the third most powerful person in the state comes from Baltimore County, right? We haven't even talked about the Kerwin Commission that commits to put $3.8 billion passed by the president of the Senate. I love Adrian Jones dearly, right? Wonderful person. We have a powerful state legislative process from Baltimore County, but as a people, we get very little traction. Julian Jones is the only county council because of the way they gerrymander the districts to give us no representation on the county council, which ultimately, as they did, called for the resignation of Mr. Williams, who they're making a scapegoat, right? And maybe because he's not putting enough money into Delaney Valley High, just like you talked about Hereford out there on the county line, So when as a people do we begin to collaborate our power, i.e. Adrian Jones, i.e. Julian Jones, i.e. Mr. Williams, i.e. the people, so that we really gain some traction, particularly in education? When do we come together as a people? When do we look at people's candidacy like yours and put you in a position to really speak for the people? We have major issues to deal with straightening up our own house, particularly when we have the leadership that we have at the state level coming from the county and can't get anything done. And the Baltimore County is the most powerful county in the state, man. They talk about Prince George's, they talk about Montgomery, Baltimore County is the most powerful county in the state. It will elect the next governor.
Well, it's one of them, no doubt. It's one of them.
Oh, it's the most powerful, man. If it wasn't for Baltimore County, Mr. Hogan, who came from the county, would probably not have been elected.
Probably right, because I didn't see him faring well in Prince George's County.
Yeah, well, the data points to all that. And here we're talking about, schools, which they're getting ready to put $3.8 billion in from the Kerwin Commission across the state. Is it to make the better schools better or to bring up the ones like Baltimore County and Baltimore City? But, we're not dealing with the real issues, and where do we go? Where do we go from here, man? So I heard you advocate to Doni for us to show up, and Doni went on a tangent about we'll show up at Sister's Place, etc. There are a lot of people interested in education, but until we have the political power and clout that is necessary on these boards, and we support them at the polls, those who run and people that run like you and Scott Phillips and others, and when they get in these positions, man, stand for something and not fall for anything, because we're at a point in our life now, man, where compromise is not a tool.
Right. No doubt. I agree with you 100%.
So my question was that showing up at the school board hearing, because in Baltimore City, what they do, they put the school board hearings in a room for 50 people, 350 show up, and then they make them watch it on a big screen or hear it from a teleprompter outside. I'm not sure what that looks like in the county.
They do the same thing. If you don't get there by 5:30, 5:15, you won't get a seat.
Yeah, exactly, man. So we're telling people to come.
Right. And then they don't have an adequate place.
They're telling people not to come, right? By how they hold it. But they can go to Randallstown High School that seats 2,000 people.
Right.
They can go to Delaney Valley and hold the same thing.
Any
things are strategic and structured for us not to participate.
Right.
But there's a lot of people that care about education, man, in our communities that would rather go to a hearing than go to Sister's Place or Corinthians, as Doni mentioned, because that's not true. We do care, okay? But when it's structured and gerrymandered in a county like Baltimore County, which you would see or think is Democratic, but we know that's not the case. We know the northern part of Baltimore County, which is heavily Republican and conservative Democratic part of the county, really rules Randallstown. And we're talking about Bowley's Corner and that area out there, to the northern part of the county. They make the determination and they talk and set the agenda for Baltimore County Public Schools.
Oh yeah, them in itself, no doubt.
Yeah, I got a question for you. Is it true that Randallstown was a slave owner?
I'm not sure.
He was. Is it true that Bosley, they got a street out there in Towson named after Bosley? Was Bosley a slave owner?
I'm not familiar with that.
He was. Was Offutt, Offutt, was he a slave owner?
Wow.
All of them were slave owners, just so you know.
Well, we have Catholic priests and Catholic churches that were slave owners as well as Episcopal. So why wouldn't we feel as though that's a part of our history? Our first president was a slave owner, So, what do we expect? It's still a slave mentality. And as long as we keep the mentality that they expect of us, then, that's exactly what we get. I don't have a slave mentality. You don't either, Doni, but I'm not slave to money, drugs, or anything else that keeps me entrapped and without power. But are there enough of us? Because that's the issue, not who owns slaves, but how we handle it and how we free our own minds. And we got problems with that.
That was the issue they had with Dr. Williams, is that he wasn't a shoe shuffling, hat in hand brother that's just going to respond to you without adequately addressing the issues at hand, and even on his own time. You know, it's like if he didn't get back to them right away, they had an issue with that. Like he worked for he's not a councilmatic intern. He's the superintendent of schools. I ain't got to address each and every one of y'all individually just because you asked. You know, he trying to take care of the hundreds of thousands of kids in the school and the principals and of high school, middle school, elementary schools. They had issues with that. They call his confidence and past performance and capabilities. They call that arrogance. We can't be confident without being arrogant.
Dr. Dallas Dance was the most powerful educator for Black people during his term as the Baltimore County Superintendent of Public Schools. More things were happening for Black young people in education under Dallas Dance, and they set him up, right? Not that he may not have done, and, you know, so he had outside interests and, you know, building his own, you know, is that something unusual?
No.
Jim Smith went from Baltimore County into the City Hall of Baltimore City, contributed to the People's Campaign for the benefit of, because he was sent there by the powers that be. And we don't understand how it really works, right? To oversee that process, because school funding in Baltimore City and Baltimore County, they're used as political leverage and political fodder money to repay people, right? So you got $1.8 billion in Baltimore City, the money in Baltimore County, they use it as repaying people with the contracts.
Cash cow.
And then you get Dallas Dance, who I believe Baltimore City should have grabbed, right? Because if America's America of second chances, why isn't Dallas Dance somewhere?
Only if you're white, bud.
Educated? That's right. That's right. Until we circle the wagons ourselves and insist and ensure that we allow people that opportunity, because we do have the power in Baltimore County, Baltimore City, maybe not in Montgomery, Alabama, but we definitely have it here in this jurisdiction. But we get confused because we listen to the noise and we think we should be on the other side because someone's in a suit and tie, that makes them correct.
Miss Sylvia is on a roll. Stop paying water bills. BG&E car insurance collectively show the power. People don't want to sacrifice. We have the blueprint. We just don't want to follow. Jesus was not a churchgoer. He threw them out, kicked over the money tables, knocked over the ATM. Oh, they didn't have ATMs back then. Walked, worked, sweat for the people. He went to court for the people. Closed the church. That's where the slave mentality is reinforced.
Wow, that's powerful. That's powerful.
Where is the faith community? Jay Jalisi has a reputation for giving the churches in Randallstown $500 a pop. Can Ben Brooks beat that? You got to fight for state senate out there. Now, everybody, well.
Jay Jalisi, that's not the one that was accused of
Pimp slapping his daughter.
Yeah, and staff misconduct and his people kind of like a infrastructure.
His employees in Annapolis like slaves.
Yeah, and he's got a chance to win.
Possibly.
Who's voting for him?
In the Senate,
some of them black people that went to them churches.
That's exactly my point, Donnie. That's exactly my point. Where is it that we as a people get our information to a point where someone like him shouldn't even be a candidate with the most powerful person overseeing his seat in Annapolis? What are we saying? That he even has a chance when the center of power for this state comes out of that county, and you have someone like that with an opportunity to represent our people in the district that he's in? What is it really saying?
Penny Brown said they're going to beat the brakes off of Jalisi. But let me tell you, Jalisi is not to be underestimated.
Absolutely.
No, he's not. No, he's not. He has a big following in Baltimore County.
Because he paid them people. He paid them black people. He put money in their churches. And that's all they care about is some extra money to go to Hip Hop Fried Chicken.
Hey man, if you're gonna do me, you're gonna do me like Dallas Dance. You're gonna pay me several $100,000 or millions of dollars to buy me. Stop buying me for a chicken box. Catherine Pugh did the same thing in Baltimore City. Where's
Yes, he did. Yeah, they did, and now they interviewing her.
And where's our threshold?
What is that interview gonna sound like?
Conciliatory, because she understands that
They gave her 2 weeks on Radio 1. What kind of foolishness are we selling to people?
Well, it's okay.
What are we telling the children?
It's
Just
okay.
go and break law. Come on home. We got you. Well, damn, ain't that the same thing the kids do? Got a coming home from jail party. Isn't that the same thing we frown upon? This was the same woman that came to Pennsylvania Avenue, looked at the little girls in the marching band and said, I was there. But now, when the shoe is on the other foot, it's interesting how the vernacular changes.
Well, I'm not upset that anyone gets a second opportunity. What I'm upset is that we're not educated enough. We're not educated enough as a people to make decisions, because guess what? We can turn that channel off. We don't have to support it. Totally up to us.
I don't. And I wish they stopped calling me, asking me how to get in touch with my guests.
Why don't they just give you a show because of who owns it?
Now, I work with you, Mr. Haney, and
you should have a show. You should have a show. If she has a show, you should have a show. Radio 1 is owned by who? Kathy Hughes?
I thought it was Howard Mason. That's who run things out there. The white man. White Jewish man.
They can't have you because you're too controversial. They can't control your mouth, which is probably why Michael Johnson ain't on there anymore. But yeah, we think that things are owned by us. Nah. We're just front people. For the real voice, the real money.
It can't be black media if the white man has the final say.
Who you talking about? Howard Miser?
Howard Miser.
Yeah, Howard, he ain't gone nowhere. We would have been fired 10 times over in that position just because of. But he's the gatekeeper. He's the gatekeeper to the hip hop, the rap, the pants dragging down, to ensure that the money continues to flow in, because that's all they really want. And he's the gatekeeper. He's the only one that hasn't changed there in almost 30 years.
I remember when they had
a black-owned station.
I remember they had Mark Clark training Pork Chop to replace him. I thought that was the cruddiest thing they could ever do. Mark Clark loyally served Radio 1, but I cautioned them years ago, get your own. So if they ever pull the rug from underneath of you, you can land on your feet. That's why
Tim Watts. We can go Tim Watts. We can talk about Tim Watts. We can go back to James Brown, who owned his own station, right? Power to the people, right? In terms of what the real control, because Donnie, you have always said communications is the final piece for us to come together, but we got to own our own. I look at the Afro-American newspaper, right? Okay, we want to skip that, right? So you can tell what really is going to get out by who's really putting in and who's really buying it to who really owns it, right? Because it don't take much to buy certain things, but communications is the final piece for us. And what does it look like? Getting Donnie to a point where he has his own TV station, studio, radio, communications, if he is going to give the truth to the people. The closest thing we have is the Nation of Islam.
Big ups to Don Muhammad, keeping it real.
Because they don't compromise in the messaging, but we have been taught not to listen to it and pay attention to it. We've been taught that it's propaganda.
We've been taught to revere Fox. I can't believe it's some of the black people that regularly go on there.
Oh my goodness.
That's why we need our own. Because if I'm going to a racist slave owner to get my word out, then I really haven't developed my skills and talents effectively.
That's real, Donnie. And I know we're veering off your conversation, and I think about Tharu Vigaraja or whatever his name is, right? Because I don't
nasty.
I don't dislike him. I don't dislike him. I don't
I
dislike
dislike
anyone.
him. He done got caught twice trying to get sex.
But that's okay. That's human behavior. That's human behavior. But look at what has happened. Absolutely. And had that been, and then we talk about Nick Mosby, for instance, as an example, that not that I support him about taking some money, but this guy who was caught on Greenmont and 25th, right, in a car by police, who now is in position because the governor's endorsed him. Fox 45 has virtually given him hundreds of thousands of dollars
in airtime
for his campaign, right? And they're pushing him to the top. Has not one story that I've heard about the controversy regarding his behavior and personality. And
now, where's his wife? Where's this family man's wife while he out tricking?
Well, you know, you got to understand the culture. They said he was separated during the course of that. You know, you got to understand the culture.
He got caught tricking.
Yeah. Well, you know, it should at least be part of the conversation.
From Greenmount, after dark, on a suspended license with no headlights on. Freak nasty. Go sit down.
Yeah. But he is probably going to be your next attorney from Baltimore.
Because how do you say that? Because you got the same race that was the last time. Ivan Bates, freak nasty, Marilyn Mosby.
Look what they did to Sheila Dixon, man. They don't want you in. They don't let you in, and they don't count the votes. You know, how do you know what's
behind it? You don't think Ivan Bates has a shot?
No.
What?
No.
What's different? What's different about his campaign this time?
Ivan Bates, yeah, he is a great guy, would probably make a great one, but he's not the chosen one, depending on who you look at making the choice.
And he going against Marilyn Mosby again. I mean, she beat him once.
Yeah, Tharu is the chosen one for whatever reasons, because first of all, he's not black, right? And that's important that the candidate for that position, based on people's thoughts about what crime and justice looks like, is not black.
Let me ask you this. Is there racism in India? Because I done met some Indian cats that are black. I mean, jet black, but they got this thing towards African Americans, you know, kind of down your nose type thing.
Well, Donnie, how could you ask that when you look at within our own race, light-skinned people versus dark-skinned people versus whatever?
Well, I ain't fond of somebody coming across the water and looking down their nose at me, especially when they as black as I am, if not blacker.
Well, when they came across in an airplane and not a boat like you did, then they feel as though they have a leg up. So you came across two different ways.
You are black, and they got pimped by the British, which turned Bangladesh and Pakistan into different countries. Truth be told, if you combine India, Bangladesh, and Pakistan, that's more people than China.
Yeah.
1.5 billion people.
Yeah.
And a lot of, with all due respect, a lot of Indians are getting into politics. So you got, is Aisha Khan Indian?
She's Pakistani.
So
they have their own little area out here in Baltimore County.
Hey, Donnie.
The Rolling Road corridor.
Woodlawn.
Absolutely. Donnie.
Or Catonsville. They definitely trying to, you can't take your eyes off of them.
Donnie, you know who owns more hotels in this country than anyone?
I'm going to imagine you're going to say the Indians.
Yes, sir.
From India.
They just had a conference here in Baltimore, their the Asian hotel owners conference. And so the Patels, right? So they own more hotels than any other group in this country, right? So my point is that there's a lot of money that flows, to your point, that they have that power, just like Kagro, right? They have a lot of money.
Tell them what Kagro is.
So that's the Korean owners
American.
of grocery, Korean American owners, they're grocery store owners. You know what I'm saying? And so our politicians feel compelled to acknowledge that because of not only the money, but the power of property, real estate. And so, we don't have that basis where we support each other, where we don't have to go to the Asian hotel owners or the Korean grocery store owners, etc. So we're bought and paid for.
Do you know the Pakistanians own all of the gas stations on Liberty Road? They own about 5 Dunkin' Donuts on Liberty Road. They own all of the 7-Elevens on Liberty Road.
When them sons of guns got a hip hop fried chicken, I was done with y'all at Randallstown.
Well, they brought hip hop.
Black people was lined up. Black people were lined up around the corner, and it's like they done took your name, hip hop. That's black. They done took your name, usurped it, put some crack in that chicken, and all black people talking about, oh, I just love their chicken.
Yeah, they sit around at night, Donnie, and they strategize, smoking a joint, talking about how they're going to get us. Hey, why don't we call it hip hop? Why don't we put it in Waverly? And we ran them out of Waverly because they would not hire. So you selling me chicken and you don't have anybody that looks like me in my neighborhood behind that counter, it should be insulting to me as a community. Okay? It should be insulting to me as a community. But what do? To Donnie's point, I line up outside the door and I continue to buy because we have that slave mentality, not just with whites, but with other races as well, when it comes to what it is that they have to give us.
And here's another piece, Mike. We don't want to work. Too many of us do not want to work.
Well, I don't know if we should generalize that. I get what you're saying.
Too many of us would rather stand on a corner ducking 5-0 for 10 hours than to go down to Chipotle and work a legitimate job. So
I don't blame them for the net effect that they feel of not paying taxes on whatever they're doing. So they net more than $15 an hour. But when you weigh the consequences of the danger, you're right, Donnie. But I think there's opportunity, and I was listening to Wes Moore this past weekend talk about that opportunity to ensure that we net better and educate our people better as to why it is more beneficial for entrepreneurial opportunities, which you promote greatly with Black Wall Street, and for jobs of STEM, which this is supported with this network, right? That we begin to educate that the net effect and the liability of being on the corner does not outweigh going at it a different way. But it's an education process.
Doug, I got to pose one more question to you before our time is up. This show is brought to you by STEM City USA. You are an engineer by training?
Architect, yes.
How is our STEM training coming in Baltimore County?
It's getting better. You got a lot of different individual programs in Baltimore County that are being implemented. As a matter of fact, one of my fraternity brothers runs a robotics mentoring program, after school program that have competed on a national level.
Where?
So it's in different pockets throughout the county, different pockets in different schools. But it could be a whole lot more. It could be a whole lot more if it was endorsed and enforced. And I say this because this was one of my political platforms by our county councilman in terms of a collaboration as it relates to all of the corporate entities in Baltimore County. Do you know we have some of the most high-tech IT, cybersecurity companies and corporations in the Woodlawn corridor, in the industrial parks associated with Social Security, CMS, Federal Bureau of Investigations, because they have contracts with these government agencies. But yet still we don't have programs to allow our kids in our communities and in our high school to come in and learn from them. It should be a requirement that if you're going to maintain an office and generate millions and billions of dollars in our county, a percentage of the dollars that you generate should go back to educating the kids on how you acquired those millions and billions of dollars. And they're executing many STEM related contracts throughout the county right here in Baltimore County.
Derek, how can people support you? How can people get in touch with you?
Well, I have my own little design build construction company called Architectural Environmental and Integrity. Uh, my website is www.aeidesignbuild.net. My specialty is solar energy. I do residential, I do commercial. Uh, my background's architecture, design, and construction. I spent 12 years as a project architect with the Army Corps of Engineers. I did 14 years as a civil engineering officer in the Air National Guard. So if you want to support me, you can go to either one of those websites, aeidesignbuild.net. And I'll be glad to help you in any way, shape, or form that I can.
What about baseball?
Baseball season is over, man. Unfortunately, they only run baseball from April to June.
So y'all got hit like that too. I look at James Mosier today. It breaks my heart. And then, here's the question that I should have asked you early on.
What's that?
Howard University got a white baseball team?
Oh, you mean they got a white coach who recruits white players? That's not unusual throughout the HBCU athletic departments. That's what they do.
Coppin State got white players on the baseball team. Black people don't play baseball in college no more, right?
Not as many as we used to, no.
Can I go back to college and play baseball? Am I too old?
Hell no, I hate to say it, Donnie, you wouldn't make it. But again, Donnie,
I got a mean curveball.
Donnie, we got to bring that up. That's a whole nother hour of discussion, my brother. I honestly believe the NAACP has designed it such that African Americans don't and won't play baseball because realistically, on a 32-member collegiate baseball team, the NAACP only offers 11.5 full scholarships for baseball teams, which means all those other members.
Where's the United Negro College Fund? Have you ever met anybody who got one of those scholarships?
No.
I'm 56 years old. I have never, ever, ever met a United Negro College Fund recipient. Ever.
Okay. Yeah. But getting back to that baseball thing, that's a sport they're not going to relinquish, Donnie. I hate to say it. We dominated football. We dominated basketball. They're not letting us down.
We dominated horse racing. We dominated hockey. Who you think invented skating backwards?
That's right.
Okay, Pharaoh said that's enough. Derek, again, we thank you for coming out. It's always a pleasure. Any final thoughts?
Man, we just got to stay diligent and we got to stay engaged. This is not the time to go on to sleep or to be sitting on the side of the road. These midterm elections are crucial, and we got to get involved. We got to come out and vote just like we did when Obama was running for presidency the first time. Because if not, again, we're going to be behind the 8 ball.
We done got comfortable, Derek.
We can't afford to be behind the 8 ball.
And that's why I commend you and your wife, because you always stay out there. Where'd you get that community spirit from? Man, your mama, your daddy?
From my mother and father. They were both community activists in my community where I grew up. I grew up in Whitmore, outside of Baltimore County. My father was the community, one of the community leaders, and my mother was right there supporting him. So, I ain't new to this. I'm true to this. I saw the results of their efforts, time and energy. And
your daddy rich and your mama good looking.
There you go. And the cotton is high.
Love and respect you, Doug Burnett. Again, big ups to your family for always being supportive of our efforts.
Thank you, my brother. Continue to do well.
Yes, sir. My name's Donnie Glover. This has been another edition of the show. Stay tuned for Mr. William Honeyblue. Good morning, world.